from Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching 6 at 6 with me, Antara Gupta. Tonight, we are tracking the ghastly attack in one of Sydney's prime location, the Bondi beach. In fact, at least 12 people were gunned down and 29 were injured, as per the latest reports that are coming in. This is perhaps one of the worst attacks in the history of Australia. The target? The Jewish community. That is the confirmation that we are getting in as for right now, viewers. A peaceful Hanukkah celebration turned bloody in a blink of an eye. In fact, eyewitnesses recount the horror of the terror that unfolded right in front of their eyes. What went down in the Bondi beach? World leaders have condemned the attack, calling it appalling, distressing, and downright cowardice, as they express solidarity with the families who mourn tonight, the families who have lost their loved ones in a blink of an eye. One of the suspects, meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, has been shot dead, while the other is said to be in a critically injured condition. This is the current update of the two shooters who have been apprehended. In fact, Australia tonight remains on high alert, viewers, with one of the worst attacks Australia has seen in the recent history. This is a black day indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 6 at 6. Let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, at least 12 people have been gunned down in the mass shooting in Sydney's iconic Bondi Beach, one of the country's most crowded public places. Police say that the two gunmen opened fire during a public gathering on Sunday evening. Local time, triggering scenes of panic as beachgoers ran for their lives. One of the shooters was fatally shot by the police during a gun battle, while the second suspect has now been taken into custody and is said to be in a critical condition. Authorities say that 11 others were also injured. And right now, as per the reports coming in, 29 is the number of viewers, 29 people have been injured, including a police officer as well. Large-scale security operation remains underway. The attack took place on the first night of the Jewish festival, Hanukkah, raising serious questions about the motive. Though Australian authorities are yet to officially confirm the reason behind the attack, viewers are advised that some of the visuals that you're about to see is extremely disturbing. Here is what unfolded in Sydney's Bondi Beach. In fact, before we go to the story, ladies and gentlemen, joining me live is Aaron Bhugra, a student in Sydney who has been reporting for us live. Aaron, if you can hear me. This is one of the ghastly attacks that Australia has seen in recent history. As per the recent reports that are coming in, 29 people, including police officers, have been injured and 12 people are dead. What is the current situation right now, Aaron?
I had a lot of talk with my friends regarding this as well, because suddenly all of us were in a last state of panic, actually, because nothing actually happens of like this, the damage in this city. Like, it's a very safe city as a whole. So there's just a lot of panic going on. There's a lot of worry because this is now the Christmas season as well. So there's going to be a lot of public outings, a lot of people outside, which might just become another target spot. So we just have we're very careful essentially, and we don't know how we'll proceed the next days, but yeah.
Absolutely, Arjun. In fact, what we're also coming to know is that the two shooters, one of them has been killed. The other is said to be in a critical condition. Do you have any update as to what is the current state of that second shooter?
We haven't received any reports regarding that, but they have also found an IED, an explosive device, materials to form all of that in one of the cars. So there's a bomb squad there as well. They've cordoned off the area. They've completely blocked it off, just trying to get as much information as possible.
You said that they also found an IED, Arjun. So what you're saying right now essentially is that apart from the, the mass shooting that broke out, there could have been a possibility of a bomb blast there as well.
We're not very sure. It's just the police have confirmed, okay. But the investigation is still going on essentially. But yeah.
Absolutely, and if you've been able to speak to any of the witnesses who were there at the Bondi beach during the time of the attack, have you been able to speak to anybody? What is the current situation? What is the current sentiment right now there?
Everybody was just ready for like a celebration. They were ready for one of the most important days for the Jewish people, and something like this was very unexpected. And it's just everybody is in a large state of panic, and nobody knows what to do. It was very abrupt. There was no prior information about anything of this sort that might just happen, because like normally we get terror alerts if possible, but something nothing. There was no information about any of this, and just suddenly there was just so much death, so much chaos, and yeah, I think everybody has just like a panic. The state of mind is just panic, and it's just worry and just trying to understand the situation from now on.
Well, absolutely, Arun. This is indeed a black day for Australia. Our thoughts go out with all the victims of this ghastly mass shooting attack. Thank you for getting us these updates. Ladies and gentlemen, now quickly to give you a recap of what happened. 29 people have been injured. At least 12 people have been killed in perhaps Sydney's worst attack in the recent history. Let me quickly take you through what exactly went down at the Bondi beach. Take a look.
Sydney's Bondi beach turned into a crime scene after a mass shooting erupted on Sunday evening. The shooting happened during a public gathering during a Hanukkah event. Two gunmen opened fire and gunshots echoed through the crowd beachfront, with crowds sprinting for safety. One of the shooters was caught on camera with a gun in hand. Disturbing scenes of bloodshed were seen, with victims lying injured on the ground. While in a dramatic moment, a civilian was seen disarming one of the shooters as police moved in to secure the scene. The police have confirmed that 12 people have lost their lives, while 29 others are injured, including 2 officers of the New South Wales Police. 2 suspects have been taken down, one shot dead by the police, and the second is in critical condition, among which one shooter has been identified as one Naveed Akram. Soon after the attack, condemnation and condolences started to pour from across the world, with global leaders expressing concern over the mass shooting. Sydney is on the edge tonight as the nation mourns and waits for answers, with authorities continuing to urge the people to avoid Bondi Beach. Investigation remains underway.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, world leaders across the continent have in fact spoken in one voice. They have condemned the deadly attack in Sydney, and they have stood in solidarity with Australia's Jewish community. As investigations continue, the global message is unmistakable. Terrorism and anti-Semitism will be confronted head-on, and those who spread hate will not prevail. Take a look.
Shock and sorrow reverberate around the world tonight. International leaders are condemning the deadly terrorist mass shooting at Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. What should have been the night of peace and joy during the Hanukkah event at the Bondi Beach turned out to be marred by terrorism. The target? Jewish community attending the Hanukkah event. The deadly shooting has left at least 12 people dead and several injured, prompting an outpouring of global condolences. India has firmly condemned the attack on the Jewish event and extended their condolences to the families of the victims. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has also denounced the attack. European Union's President Ursula von der Leyen has also issued a statement on the Australian shooting. UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer called the shooting deeply distressing. Prime Minister of New Zealand too has echoed the worldwide sentiment, expressing solidarity with the affected families. Meanwhile, Netherlands has also expressed grief over the death of innocents during the Australian shooting. As the world unites in condemnation, one message is clear: hatred and terror will not prevail. The global community stands with Australia and with the Jewish people against anti-Semitism and violence.
Needless to say, viewers, Australia is in shock after the deadly shooting at Sydney's Bondi Beach, where a Hanukkah celebration was underway. Now, it has raised serious concerns that the Jewish community was deliberately targeted. As families gathered to light the first candle of the festival, gunfire broke out, killing at least 12 people and injuring at least 29 others. Global leaders and Jewish organizers have in fact condemned the attack, calling it an act of hate and warning about the growing threat of anti-Semitism, even as Australian police say that the investigation into the motive is still ongoing. Here's the full story. The Bondi Beach mass shooting has sent shockwaves across Australia and beyond, drawing strong reactions from leaders worldwide. Australian PM Anthony Albanese called the incident shocking and distressing, saying that emergency services are working round the clock. As per police, at least 10 people have been killed in the attack, including the suspected shooter. Around 13 people were taken to hospitals, while several others were treated at the scene on the beachfront. Police confirmed that the incident occurred on Sunday evening, with multiple gunshots reported. Israeli President Isaac Herzog said that the Jewish families had gathered to light the first Hanukkah candle when the attack took place. Calling the attackers vile terrorists, Herzog stated that his heart goes out to Australia's Jewish community. Israel's foreign Prime Minister Gideon Saar also described the shooting as a murderous attack, blaming rising anti-Semitism. Israel's Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Haskell said that she was horrified by the footage from the scene, calling it an attack on a peaceful celebration. The Australian Jewish Association has also blamed the Albanese government for failing to act on repeated warnings, calling the attack foreseeable. Australia's opposition leader Susan Lace said that the nation stands united against hate, praising police and paramedics for their swift action. In the middle of the crisis, an emergency Zaka delegation is also heading to Australia. As the probe continues, leaders worldwide have condemned the attack, sending messages of solidarity and support to the victims and their families. At least 12 people, including children and a police officer, were killed and nearly 29 others were injured after gunmen opened fire indiscriminately at the Bondi Beach during a Jewish Hanukkah event. The police believed that it was a targeted, pre-planned attack. The 12 dead also, unfortunately, include children whose lives were cut short in the cowardly, senseless terror attack. One of the shooters have been shot dead, meanwhile the other is said to be in a critical condition. Authorities have now launched a full-scale terror investigation as the city continues to reel from one of its deadliest attacks in the recent years. Take a look.
"12 people have been killed, including children, a police officer, and at least 29 are injured after gunmen opened fire at Sydney's Bondi Beach today in the evening. The incident has been designated a planned terrorist attack on the Jewish community. With families and children present at the event, the scale of vulnerability was devastating. Eyewitnesses described moments of chaos as people tried to shield children and flee the gunfire.
It's impossible. I was holding somebody's child because he was screaming. I was saving this child.
Another survivor recounted the exact moment the firing began, describing police officers collapsing amid the chaos as panic spread across the beachfront.
I don't get scared very easily.
So
you and I went for a smoke. You know, there was grounds, there all greeneries. I went for a smoke because you can't smoke there. Unfortunately, I'm a smoker. And I went over that sort of fence where the cop parked, and then the shooting starts. And everyone is running down. and 2 police officers lying down on the ground next to me. I think I fall down and the blood was coming from my hand.
Eyewitnesses say the beach turned into a scene of utter turmoil. Within seconds, families were separated, children injured, and people ran for cover wherever they could as emergency sirens filled the air.
I seen like a kid, like she was like maybe 8 years old. She got injured in the leg, and she was crying, and she was on the ground. So she was behind her mom. Her mom was on the ground as well. So her mom, she was holding her kid. She was 8 years old, and the other kid, she was like maybe 2-3 years old as well. And yeah, they've been like that, and many people they've been running away.
While the air fills with fear and distress, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the evil that was unleashed at Bondi Beach is beyond comprehension. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns also added that the shooting was designed to target Sydney's Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah.
Now, Australian PM Anthony Albanese, while addressing a press conference, he has stated that an attack on the Jews as an attack on the Australians. Terming it as an incident that is unfortunate, he stated that the agencies will provide factual updates and has reassured support to the Jews. The PM, in fact, stated that your fellow Australians are with you. Listen in to what PM had to say.
This is a targeted attack on Jewish Australians on the first day of Hanukkah, which should be a day of joy, a celebration of faith, an act of evil anti-Semitism, terrorism that has struck the heart of our nation. An attack on Jewish Australians is an attack on every Australian, and every Australian tonight will be, like me, devastated on this attack on our way of life. There is no place for this hate, violence and terrorism in our nation. Let me be clear, we will eradicate it. Amidst this vile act of violence and hate will emerge a moment of national unity where Australians across the board will embrace their fellow Australians of Jewish faith at this dark moment for our nation. Our police and security agencies are working to determine anyone associated with this outrage. Our agencies will provide you with factual updates as quickly as possible as they continue to emerge. The evil that was unleashed at Bondi Beach today is beyond comprehension, and the trauma and loss that families are dealing with tonight is beyond anyone's worst nightmare. Australians have had their lives cruelly stolen and many have been injured. For all Australians, our first thoughts are with those in the terrible early hours of their grief. We are also thinking of everyone being treated for their injuries, and many of whom are alive right now because of the courage and quick action of the New South Wales Police and the first responders who rushed to their aid, as well as the courage of everyday Australians who, without hesitating, put themselves in danger in order to keep their fellow Australians safe. We have seen Australians today run towards danger in order to help others. These Australians are heroes, and their bravery has saved lives. As Prime Minister, I say on behalf of all Australians to the Jewish community, we stand with you, we embrace you, and we reaffirm tonight that you have every right to be proud of who you are and what you believe. You have the right to worship and study and live and work in peace and safety, and you enrich us as a nation. You should never have to endure the loss that you have suffered today. You should never know the fear that you know tonight. We will dedicate every resource required to making sure you are safe and protected. You are Australian, and all Australians are with you today and every day. My fellow Australians, I say tonight that there are nights that tear at our nation's soul. In this moment of darkness, we must be each other's light. Hold on to the true character of the country that we love. Australia is stronger than the cowards who attacked innocent people today. Australia is braver than those who seek to make us afraid. Australia will never submit to division, violence or hatred. We will see justice done and we will come through this together.
Australian police have said that more than 1,000 people were present at the event when the shooting took place. Now, at the same time, while addressing the press conference, Police Commissioner said that they will deploy all the resources so that the matter can be thoroughly investigated. Listen to what the police had to say.
At approximately 6:47 this evening, two individuals began firing on a crowded group of families on Bondi Beach at Archer Park. This cowardly act of terrifying violence is shocking and painful to see and represents some of our worst fears about terrorism in Sydney. I very sadly need to report that as of now, there are at least 12 individuals that have been killed. One of the offenders has also been killed and one is in custody. This attack was designed to target Sydney's Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah. What should have been a night of peace and joy celebrated in that community with families and supporters has been shattered by this horrifying, evil attack. Commissioner Lanyon will speak about the investigation, the police response, as well as the designation of this attack as a terrorism event in Sydney. I can assure the community it will be met with a massive, comprehensive police and public order response. Our heart bleeds for Australia's Jewish community tonight. I can only imagine the pain that they're feeling right now to see their loved ones killed as they celebrate this ancient holiday. It's a responsibility of all Australians to wrap their arms around Australia's Jewish community and help them get through this incredibly difficult period. This is a massive, complex and just beginning investigation. It's just begun, and there are things that tonight we don't have the answers to. However, we do have answers to some crucial pieces of information for our wonderful city and our beautiful state. The first one is the outpouring of love and support from ordinary Australians for Australia's Jewish community is real. Secondly, today is another example of the enormous pressure and responsibility, the danger that New South Wales Police regularly face as part of their job. They do it without faltering. They didn't falter today. We need them. And thirdly, tonight saw extraordinary acts of personal courage and bravery from individuals in our community. And I think it's worth remembering that in all of this evil, in all of this sadness, there are still wonderful, brave Australians that are prepared to risk their lives to help a complete stranger.
The Premier has outlined the brief circumstances this evening. I'll go through them again. They're more than happy to take some questions. About 6:47 p.m. this evening, police started to receive a number of reports of shots fired at Archer Park at Bondi. Archer Park is a grassed area just north of the Bondi Pavilion. Police responded promptly. Unfortunately, at least 12 people are deceased at this time. 29 people have been transported to various hospitals around the Sydney area, including 2 police officers. The condition of those officers and the other transported are serious, but there is a range of conditions. Our thoughts, prayers and love go to all the families and all of those that were involved tonight. We know that there were many people there to celebrate a happy occasion, the celebration of Hanukkah, and there was well over 1,000 people there when this took place. As a result of the circumstances of the incident tonight, at 9:36 p.m. this evening, I declared this to be a terrorist incident. I have also authorised special powers under Section 5 and Section 6 to ensure that if there is a third offender, and we are currently investigating that at the moment, we will make sure that we prevent any further activity. Section 6 allows us to investigate today's incident. There is a massive police response, and I think as journalists you have seen how quickly and promptly the police responded. I'm incredibly proud of the professionalism of our police and emergency service responders. They have done a fantastic job. Unfortunately, it's only several years ago that Bondi occurred. at Bondi Junction. We have learnt a lot from that, and tonight ambulance and police and other emergency responders acted promptly and professionally to do a great job there. We will have a significant investigation. Our Counter-Terrorism Command will lead this investigation with investigators from the State Prime Command. No stone will be left unturned. This type of disgraceful activity, this wanton use of violence, the taking of innocent lives is unacceptable to New South Wales. It's not our way of life. I've been very clear since I've been the Commissioner that as a police force, we won't stand for this type of violence. I'm personally offended. You have seen that the police have already taken prompt action. The Premier has mentioned one of the offenders is deceased, the second one is in serious condition at hospital. We will focus to ensure that there is no further threat to the public. Could I ask, but this is a time of calm. This is a time where I want to make sure that there is no retribution. The police are investigating thoroughly. We have acted promptly. We have taken decisive action. Could I just ask for calm in the community? Allow the police to do our job. We will work closely with community and I'll continue to provide updates about the investigation as they go on. Thank you. I'll hand over to the Minister and then happy to take questions.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we could pack in this episode of 6 at 6. Don't go anywhere, because on the other side, Republic is live and breaking. Take care.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions from India are ranked amongst the top 230 in the world for having the most employable graduates: IIT Delhi, IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Kharagpur and Amity University.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये ही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा और मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो, मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।